And the best president that we ever had was Millard Fillmore. 2 weeks after he was inaugurated, he went on vacation. 4 years later, they were going to run him again and found out he was dead. But there's nothing in the Constitution which says the candidate must be alive. The candidate must at least be 35 years old, and he must have the necessary equipment. If he hasn't got that equipment, he can't screw the people. That's why I say I would never vote for a president or a candidate that didn't have a mistress. Let him do to the mistress what he's going to do to us. But I tell you, I have a philosophy. And my philosophy is, it is better to receive than to give. A lot of people say it's better to give. You want to give? Give, give. You give so much, you say, but you never get tired of receiving. Therefore, I say, don't earn more than you could spend, but spend more than you earn and die in debt. Now, if you owe a lot of money, you're going to live long. I mean, the people you owe it to are going to make sure you live long. But if you die at 75 and you owe $300,000, to amortize that loan at $30,000 a year will take you 18 years to pay it off. So you actually live to be 93, because you're living on money you would have made if you lived that long. So my suggestion, in order to reach this affluent plateau, my suggestion is borrow. Borrow. Start with your friends. Borrow from your friends. And when they ain't got any more money, make new friends. But keep borrowing. That was the basis of our government success. Our forefathers borrowed. They borrowed and they never paid it back. Our fathers borrowed, they didn't pay it back. We borrow, we ain't gonna pay it back. It was our forefathers that gave us this debt. If we had two fathers instead of four fathers, we'd have half the goddamn debt. Now, I want to say that we are here primarily in order to push off and start off a great idea. It was W.E.B. Du Bois who said, you can't have a third party in the United States as long as you have one party operating under two different names. There's no difference between Bush's program and Obama's program. I voted for him, which was my first mistake. The man lied to us. He sent 20,000 new recruits to Afghanistan. He's supposed to have gotten us out of the war yesterday. He wants to wait another 2 years to keep us in there, killing people we don't even know. The difference between a terrorist and a soldier has a license to kill. He doesn't know who he's killing, doesn't know why he's killing them, and he gets paid. But the terrorist knows who he's killing, knows why he's killing him, but he doesn't get paid. That's why there are so few terrorists. They just don't get paid. But I'm saying that is one of the great things about this country. 20 years ago, the dollar was worth 7 cents. Here it is 20 years later, the government stood by that dollar, and it's still now worth 7 cents. A loaf of bread 20 years ago cost you 5 cents. Today, 20 years later, that loaf costs $4.10. You people that were saving money were stupid. You should have saved bread. But I want to say that we generally have a question period. Now, I'm sure a lot of you people are frustrated and full of anxieties and desires. And due to the fact that the world is now tottering on the brink, overlooking the precipice, bordering the abyss, I'm sure there are a lot of problems that do irk you. I am here to clarify those issues. So please, when you ask a question, please, no names or where you're from. We don't give up, we don't care where you're from. The mere fact that you're here indicates that your neuroses is bothering you. Now we have a question from a solo guy, with Mahatma Gandhi. He was a son of a bitch. I'd rather be a son of a bitch than the son of a bush. It's true that the Jews, the Hebrews, were slaves in Egypt for 600 years. 600 years building pyramids. There was nothing else to do. I mean, and Moses was a black Egyptian, the only illegitimate son of Pharaoh's daughter. She told her father she found it in the bulrushes. You believe that? And there was Moses standing on Mount Sinai. He said, "Here we'll build a hospital." And there was the burning bush. And the burning bush, the Jews had trouble with bushes even in them days. There was a burning bush, and the burning bush was ne'er consumed. And the burning bush said to Moses, "Moses, go down and take your staff with you and free my people." And Moses looked at the bush and said, "A bush can't talk." Little did Moses realize that was a marijuana bush. Moses got so high, he thought he was God. And down into the house of bondage, into the land of Egypt, Moses took the Jews and marched them through the hot, burning desert. For 40 years and 40 nights, without sandals, they were going to see this goddamn hot. Moses said, "Shut up and move." And they marched and marched. And what does the dumb bastard do? He turns left. He'd have turned right. We'd have owned the oil fields. We'd have been rich people today. And they say that the Jews have all the money. It's true. Morgan, Mellon, Rockefeller, DuPont, Getty, Hughes, Henry Ford, Queen Elizabeth, all these Jews got money. You show me a Jew without money, I'll show you a Gentile. But nevertheless, I do want to thank you for being here, and I'm sure that with the knowledge that you have, as we say in French, Isole Mamoun Sadakam Popoli La Swata. In other words, Kelashide Mamunu Sanda Femoku Badan de Israel. And that's one of the reasons. And I'm sure that with the knowledge that you have and the aforethought that you believe in, so I say to you, I tell you now, just as, what's his name? I think it was Al Capone, or was it Mayor Daley who said, you can get more with a kind word and a gun than with just a kind word. And I say, let us remember, it is better to be healthy for one day than to be sick for a whole year. You know, I wrote away to the Freedom of Information. I wanted them to give me a copy of the Declaration of Independence. And this is what they sent me. Great America. America is built on genocide and slavery. That's the thing that made this country so rich. And I always say, let us tax the poor. It so happens that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But the only way the rich can get richer if the poor get poorer. So we take it from the poor before the rich get it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, it makes no difference. It's better not to know that we are the heirs to a bankrupt country. It so happens that there's word in Congress they want the sun to be the center of the universe, but they want the earth to go around the sun instead of 365 days, 180 days, so that the banks can get interest twice a year. But the former Russia, they didn't want it to be 180 days. They wanted it to be 800 days, so that their 5-year plan will work. Well, anyway, I want to just thank you, and remember, wherever you go, there you are. Class dismissed.